What's up, all you music lists and music list lovers? It's Listography back. I'm Kramzer here with Jason and Joe, and it is time to talk albums of the year 1985. So we were all in agreement that 84 was a really good year, maybe the best of the 80s so far. I thought 85 was maybe just not quite as good as 84, but had some really good stuff. I think the depth in the 85 is incredible. Personally, for me, it went down to 3 albums. So neck and neck for the 3. I did not decide my winner until about the middle of the night last night. Came to me in a dream and it worked. But let's talk about the year a little bit. This is a big pop year. So many huge singles. There's so many great albums, and Brothers in Arms by Dire Straits is the huge album, entirely digitally recorded, bunch of big hits. But really, the year is marked by a ton of great singles and, one-hit wonders, or at least big tracks that aren't on albums that are equally as well known, but the songs of 85 are all over the place. You've got Careless Whisper, Like a Virgin, Wake Me Up Before You Go Go. A lot of good stuff off Tears for Fears, songs from The Big Chair. Don't You Forget About Me from Simple Minds. Glenn Frey's got The Heat Is On. There's just a ton of huge songs that people have been putting on 80s playlists for years and years, including me, and I'm sure Joe as well. You've also got kind of this big, just like, unified community of pop stars doing a bunch of live just giant concerts this year. Farm Aid, Rock in Rio, and Live Aid are the big 3, and obviously they're getting together to do We Are the World. Queen kind of rejuvenates their career with their performance live at Wembley. You've got CDs becoming more popular, and Brothers in Arms is the first album to outsell record sales as CD sales. Couple of sadder notes. You've got David Lee Roth leaving Van Halen, and Roger Waters says he's done with Pink Floyd. But overall, I think it's a pretty good positive year. VH1 debuts. It's kind of the new mature MTV. Really good year. I've got a lot of really good albums, and like I said, it came down to 3, but let's see what you guys got.
For me, 1985 was a big challenge to really find 5 albums that I really liked that much. I don't know. Nothing in this year stuck with me. 1984 for me was easy. I didn't have to listen to anything else. 1985, I had to go back through and listen to dozens of albums, and I don't know, there's just nothing really stuck for me other than maybe the top 2. So I'm not even going to list my almost makes it because there's really nothing there. So my runners up this year, I got Lone Justice's debut. Also on my list, I got The Head on the Door by The Cure, which is a pretty good album. Has some of their cool, like Close to Me on it, A Night Like This. A little more poppy, a little less kind of goth than their previous stuff. I got Power Windows by Rush, which is pretty good. Good solid album. Not my favorite Rush album, but it's 1985, so makes the list. And then the top 2 here are probably the only ones that would be in my top, 500 albums of all time. And the big runner-up, is going to be Songs from the Big Chair by Tears for Fears. It is a really good album. Shout, Everybody Wants to Rule the World, Head Over Heels, 3 just massive, awesome 80s pop singles. Just a really, really excellent album. But number 1 is going to be Hounds of Love by Kate Bush, because it's just better than all the rest. If you watch our Kate Bush listography, which hopefully you have, you'll know it's my 3rd favorite Kate Bush, which is fine. Still means I really love it. The first half especially, kind of a more subdued effort for her after kind of the craziness of The Dreaming, which didn't sell well. Label was pissed. She kind of tones it down. Still, big 80s drums, Running Up That Hill, Hounds of Love, Big Sky, Cloud Busting. I think they were all big hits in the UK. They're all just immaculate, 80s sounding pop hits from Kate. She tones down her voice a little bit. It's not kind of all over the place. She kind of relies a little bit more on the synths to kind of providing texture. But just a really great album. The side two, the Ninth Wave side, is really cool. It's a little more experimental. It's a little more Kate Bush. And taken kind of as a whole, it's just a really awesome mid-'80s pop album. An easy 1985 winner for me. Hounds of Love from Kate Bush.
Such a hound for her anymore. What? Who are you from 6 months ago? It's awesome. It's great.
Yeah. 6 months ago, I hadn't heard this album, so I don't know if that speaks to how weak 1985 was or how much I love Kate Bush. Maybe a little of both.
All right, Jason, 1985. You're 1 year old now.
Yep, and I lean more towards Cram than Joe on my feelings about this year. I think it's just a tick weaker than 84, but it's a really good year still. I think for the second year in a row, the Cult probably take the number 6 spot with their album Love. But the 5 that are making my list are going to be Little Creatures by Talking Heads, Acapella by Todd Rundgren, a really weird, some would say gimmicky record that he recorded with an emulator sampler. All of the sounds on the record are samples of his voice. But the songs are really good. I like it a lot. Then I've got Phegmania by Robin Hitchcock and the Egyptians. A really, really cool, fun record, really catchy, upbeat tunes, but just like the littlest bit of sort of twisted humor, songs like My Wife and My Dead Wife. It's just left of center enough that it's kind of interesting and kind of has that sort of tension to it. Usually the records that I pick for my list are records that I've loved for a really long time. But here I've got one that is a bit more of a recent discovery for me. I heard some people talking about this on the YouTube vinyl community and checked it out a couple months ago, and I've been in love with it since then, listening to it a lot. It's the record Steve McQueen by Prefab Sprouts. Yes, really into this record lately. Love it a lot. But my number 1 is The Head on the Door by The Cure. Joe severely undersold it. Said it was pretty good. It's an awesome record. It's probably cooler to like the early Cure stuff, but my favorite era of The Cure kind of starts with the top, but really starts with The Head on the Door. This is probably my favorite record of theirs. Every song on it's really good. Super poppy stuff, not so poppy stuff. In Between Days, Push, Close to Me, Kyoto Song. I like them all. Yeah, it's my pick for 85.
Yeah, Joe said a lot of albums that I think he completely undersold, and I think that just has a lot to do with, like, he's at a bar with, 12 attractive women, but Kate Bush is one of them, so the other 11 don't exist. Yeah, The Cure is one of the 3 that I just couldn't make up my mind about. I love The Cure from the debut up till Bloodflowers. I love the whole era. Can't wait to do that listography. Let's talk about the ones that I had to cut, because I think this year is deeper than anyone's talking about. Meat is Murder, not making it. Power Windows by Rush. Some good stuff by Husker Du. This is the Sea by Waterboys. Fables of Reconstruction by REM. Not making it. All right, so the ones that I do have as my official runners-up, I've got Hounds of Love by Jagirl, Kate Bush. I've got Songs from the Big Chair by Tears for Fears. And then the 3 that just kept me awake all week were The Head on the Door by The Cure, Tim by The Replacements, and the one I am giving the W to is Psycho Candy by the Jesus and Mary Chain. Going into the 80s, just with a brief, quick look at the years, I really thought the Replacements had a chance to go back-to-back in 84 and 85 with Let It Be and Tim, and they're probably the second place in each year, so shout out to the Replacements. I love them to death. This stretch of these albums through Please to Meet Me is just amazing. Here's why I'm picking Psycho Candy. It's just so different, and you got to really tip your hat at how different it was at the time. And even though shoegaze never became a massive genre and tore up charts or anything and, fizzled out in the mid-90s, the influence of the sound really stuck with rock. And it's just such a cool album. It's like this sugary sweetheart pop album, just just painted with distortion and guitar noise and feedback. And it's like really soothing and ambient, but obnoxious and bratty at the same time. It's like, an avant-garde, like step cousin of the Beach Boys. It's like California music for like subterranean London subway takers. It's really awesome. Obviously everyone thinks of the sound and the style and the moodiness of it, but really the songs are just really good, quick to the point pop songs, and it works. And it tackles the mood and the feeling and introduces you to the personality of the Reed brothers so well. And the songs are just great. The lead off with Just Like Honey is terrific. Living End is really upbeat and cool and sounds like a motorcycle. And Hardest Walk, Taste of Cindy, there's so many great songs on it. And I didn't think at first this would have what it takes to get over Tim, but when I really was listening to all three, like the last few days, not just the album and the presence of the sound stuck with me. A lot of the songs did too, which is why it just is edging out Tim, which is just edging out The Head on the Door. And I just think this album is incredible. I love shoegaze. Dan Schmidt, if you're watching, I know you got my back. But this is the ultimate, the first. It's just a really beautiful, noisy, cool album. So 85, I thought much better than Joe was leading on. I don't get it. I don't know what you're thinking.
I think this is the first year, Kramzer, that your top pick is an album I just can't stand.
There's got to be a different year where I did that.
Yeah, I think this is the first one. For posterity's sake, let me give you my almost just made the cuts. Little Creatures, which it's fine. It's a good album. In Square Circle by Stevie Wonder. Steve McQueen by Prefab Sprout actually was on the list, and Dare to Be Stupid by Weird Al Yankovic. So, I was considering putting Heart on the list. Their comeback arena cheese, which it's a fine album, but
good album.
I never thought it would make my top 5.
I think it's fair to say you don't like anything this unclean and this lo-fi, even though it's not really lo-fi, but
Yeah, no, it's just, that sort of shoegaze is basically the antithesis of what I like. And
you have a great collection of shoes. You should be looking at them all the time, but... I love the sound, and there's not a huge catalog of amazing shoegaze stuff that comes out later. There are if you're really deep into the genre, but for all-time stuff, this is the one that really stands out. There probably might be some contenders later for me with like Slow Dive and Ride, but this is where it all started. It's the building block, and I'm kind of surprised Jason didn't have this in consideration.
I listened to it over the past week or two, getting ready for this, but I don't know. I like certain tracks off of it a lot.
And I'm also kind of surprised, Jason, you didn't have the replacements.
Yeah, I don't know. I do like the replacements. I like all these sort of classic records of theirs, but not top 5 for me.
Well, let us know if we missed anything major in 85. Pretty good lists all around. 86 coming up next. Don't know what to expect from you guys for 86, but from the looks of it, it's not quite as strong as 84 or 85. Still, I think a pretty good year.
Better than 85, I think. I think it's a good one.
Do you?
Yeah,
maybe take a quicker look.
I think it's on the same level as 84. I think it's really good.
All right, well, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully everyone out there in YouTube land is as well. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, like, hit the bell for notifications. Let us know what your favorite albums are for 85. And if you're having some fun with this, throw out some guesses, knowing our tastes now, what you think we're going to pull off in 86. Let us know what you think from Joe, Jason, and myself. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in 86.